What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 484. My name is Steve. I'm one of the co-hosts of the show. And as always, I'm joined by...
Ron.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to go down there, and I'm gonna need you to see how big my opening is.
Oh, yes, that was the one. Both Aaron and I were like, oh, wow.
I had that experience. You know that experience of your tongue getting caught up while you're talking. I just had that where I stumbled over a word. Hold on, I'm gonna have to sip some water here. Cool, refreshing water. There's nothing better. By the way, we've got new sponsorship from the Water Council, and that was the kind of thing you can expect from the seat. Ronald is having some now too. Just remember to say "cool, refreshing water." You're supposed to say that every time you have a sip of water.
Cool, refreshing water. Man, I'm trying to recover from this thing. So I have a ear infection apparently because I can't hear out my left ear. So it got me on a Z-Pack and this nasal spray until my ear infection goes away. But people covet Z-Packs. I didn't realize
them.
they covered them. It's like the ultimate recovery thing. So they're like, oh, Z-Pack. They gave you a Z-Pack? Well, I need to maybe go down to Mexico, get a couple Z-Packs.
I mean, it does seem like that's one of the any or most infection, any kind of like sinus.
Yes.
I don't know. Like it's like, yep, got a Z-Pack. Anybody you talk to, but they work. So
Yeah.
man, there's a reason they
You think
prescribe them, I guess.
You think TC uses one?
What's
TC
that?
TC Tom Cruise?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
He's got
only
something now.
natural
He's got
herbal.
something from the mothership. He probably uses.
Oh, okay. Maybe some of his own oxygenated blood that he had
Yeah, yeah.
he had taken away from months ago. Like
No,
he
from
Lance
years ago,
Armstrong's
like
himself.
when he was 21 or something, he got like a lot of blood taken from him, right?
Yeah, Lance Armstrong's himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's up, guys? How's it going? Besides
Apparently
your
not much.
sinus infection, Ronald.
And,
Pretty
and
good, man. Pretty
my
good.
my mouth being dry, Ronald's sinus infection. What's wrong with you, Steve?
Mm.
I don't know. Just overworked, I guess. I don't know. Just can't catch a break, man. Need to slow down. Working on that. It's not going so hot.
Yeah, man. You really do, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
Your
Going on
balls will go
vacation.
flat.
Going.
Your balls
Go-
will just go completely flat,
I mean,
like
I've heard
pennies.
I've heard the rumors, but
Well, sometimes you don't know you've gone too far until it's too late, and you look down and you're like, "Holy
this is true.
moly!"
This is true.
Yeah.
Well, Steve,
Yeah,
have
we'll see.
you thought about? You said you need to slow down and everything. Have you thought about a sip of cool, refreshing water?
Aqua.
Nothing better. So where do you stand on water? Does it have like water is water flavored, right? A lot of people say water tastes like nothing, but I feel like water is flavored.
I think water has a flavor.
Yeah,
Sure, I would say so.
I think it is what we taste as water. It's like a strange thing to say.
yeah.
But it's like it's like if somebody only drank orange juice and they drank some apple juice. It's like, what is this non orange juice?
Yeah.
It's regular. It's like, is that the standard?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's just the standard. It's just the standard because it's so.
It's funny, like we were just talking about us as it relates to taste, like with my kids, because like my kids, like that's all they drink, right? Like,
Okay.
like every once in a while they'll have an apple juice, or we'll let them sip whatever we're drinking, like just to taste, like, oh, this how crazy this tastes.
Mm,
But we were like, I just feel like in general, like that's kind of how we've approached it with our kids. And that seems to be kind of modern. Like, I've never done, like, you always see kids running around with their water bottles. Like, and I feel like we were talking about the other day, I was like, growing up, I felt like, I don't feel like I drank water like that until I was like in my 20s or like my late teens. I felt like growing up, I never had a water bottle. Like,
hell
like,
no.
like if you think about it, like to school, like you had like juice boxes, or
Yes.
like Capri Sun or apple juice or whatever. Like I never had a water bottle.
Listen,
And
if you had a school lunch, you would have a pizza and a milk, which is
a chocolate
gross.
milk, yeah, like or
Doubling down on the dairy. Like, what
right.
the fuck is that?
And I just like I'm just like it's crazy because like even like thinking of sports that I played, it's
Mm,
like it was always like Gatorade.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
or if there was water, like it had like lemon in it. It was never just like straight
yes,
water. And
man.
you feel like I don't know. It was like I was like blowing my kid's mind. I was like, yeah, literally when I'd be outside all day, I didn't have a water bottle. Like we
Yeah,
would find a hose and drink from
yes.
the
You
hose.
just
or a water fountain or whatever. I'm like,
yes,
get in line. Here's the hose. And
yes,
and they were cracking up, and I'm just like, you guys have these awesome bottles, and you have all these like Stanley cups that you covet, and I'm just
yeah.
like, you lucky son of bitches.
That's fancy.
You guys are fancy.
Yeah.
But John, I do think it tastes like water. I do
Yeah.
think it has a taste,
Yeah.
and it's distinct.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's kind of like a palate that, it's a cleanser, and it's, you build off of it. All these things that are like huge, and adding stuff to your water to make it taste better. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, fine, whatever. But there was a base taste there that you're adjusting.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the episode.
Right, there you go.
Aqua schmaqua.
Yeah. Do you find when you don't drink water and you drink like a Gatorade? Look, I don't know what it's like to have to be on like heroin or something like that, but I could tell that when I don't have regular water
Okay.
to quench my thirst, I'm chasing the feeling of drinking water. It
Yeah.
feels awful. It's like this is not it. I need more.
got you.
I need more something. This Gatorade isn't enough. And then I have water.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is quenching my thirst. This is like actually doing the job. Anything
That's a
else
good point.
isn't really good. I don't know. People that just drink Gatorade like it's like I don't know, man.
Right.
I think Gatorade is delicious. I just think
But
that
yeah,
like
it's got so much like sugar and other shit in it too.
yeah,
It's
and
like
salt. Oh my God, so much salt.
Yeah.
we had this because you see athletes drink it. We had this. There you go, Ronald. I love the zoom in, the dramatic zoom in on you drinking the
That
water.
was really dramatic.
The Water Council is going to be really happy with that shot, honestly.
Yeah.
But like
The coverage is great.
but like it really is not like the. I mean, it really is not the thing you should be drinking in lieu of water, right? Like it's a
Right,
funny
right,
thing
right.
about Gatorade.
Right.
But it's like it's like you taste it and you're like, okay, you've got a bunch of shit in it, but you still kind of taste like something that is not fully flavored. So like, why don't you just go ahead and not not put all that other shit in there, or not put so much salt or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sick, it really hits the spot. Like when I'm like sick, I need electrolytes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
well, no, the quick
Good heavens, Jesus.
like the quickness with which you can drink a Gatorade is
Yes.
shocking.
Oh, dude.
Sometimes you're like, oh, I need it.
Yes.
I've got one. Glug 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 glug. And it's just gone. But water's kind of like that too, and I do think you're right, Ronald. It's interesting the way you put that, the chasing part, because I do think if you have like really good, like cold or cool and refreshing water, you are experiencing such a basic, like your body is experiencing such a basic like pleasure or level of sustenance or whatever that like you it is like a baseline experience that other experiences kind of are not quite like you are chasing it by drinking anything else and expecting
Yeah.
that same kind of feeling. And every now and then I think I like to drink something really cold, or I'll kind of drink something really fast the way you guzzle water, and I
Yep.
realize I am chasing that feeling you're talking about of like just oh, this
Yeah.
feels so refreshing, kind of like the equivalent of for your outside body standing under the shower and just letting the water just hit you.
Yes.
You're just like, oh my God, this is so perfect.
Feel the rain on your skin.
Have some cool, refreshing water.
She's like front of mind because I don't know if you know about the Joe Budden podcast, but okay, so as a palate cleanser, when they have terrible news, they typically will play her song, and she's like, "What? You listen to my shit? Like you're a rapper? You listen to my shit?" She came onto the show, sang it with them, and then kind of talked about her career.
Wow.
Being and she has a correlation with Joe Budden because although she's had other songs, she is a one hit wonder. Like
Sure.
Joe Budden is technically with Pump It Up.
Right.
So they talked about how you can live as a one hit wonder for the rest of your life, and people kind of make fun of it.
Right.
It was a really cool interview, man. I got some cool perspective on, this like thing that people make fun of. Oh, they were one hit wonder, but people are living off of that one hit. She is
So true.
yeah, man.
Well, it's like I mean, I'm sure there may even be a term for this in like culture of a thing that like both. You know what? I just thought of an example of this. A thing that is both itself and the parody reference to itself. And I think like the Rick Astley thing is a perfect example of that. Like,
Yes.
that is both a banger that people love, and it is an in joke with the universe that it is what it is. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't separate the joking use of something from like the right use of it at this point. It's like, you're right, Ronald. It's like something earns a spot, and then it's like, okay, now that's a reference everyone will get. And if it's sincere or not, it doesn't matter. If it's not sincere, it still has a little ounce of sincerity in it because we know the original thing was intended sincerely. It just got overplayed. You can't blame it. Can't blame something for getting overplayed.
Can't blame anybody for that, man.
One person. Billy Ray Cyrus. You can blame him for Achy Breaky Heart.
Wow.
What would you say is the most overplayed song, Ronald? Like, if you had to pick a song that's like that, okay, we should blame this person. I'm sorry, we do have to punish this artist for making this song.
That song that they used to play in a lot of like rom-coms. So kiss me. I feel like I used to hear that song.
Kiss Me.
Yeah, so much. I used to hear that song so much, and he was using so many trailers for things.
Sixpence None the Richer? Is that who did that? Wow,
Yep.
What a band name. No, Ronald, that's a great example. Steve, do you have one?
Of a one-hit wonder that what?
A one-hit wonder that just shouldn't have hit. Or that you blame for how either obnoxious or popular or overused their hit got, I guess, is what we're saying here. Like we said, you can't blame them, but no, maybe you can blame blank.
Oh, who let the dogs out, man?
You know why that bothers me? It's because
know.
I can't not make a joke when anything close to that comes up. So like if Nikki says, "Did you let the dogs out?" or whatever, I have to say something like, "Oh, you want me to finally answer that question?" or whatever, Or she'll be like actually say something close to that, and you want to be like, who? Like there's no way around it. Yes, I would say that one because I want to be done with it. I don't want to hear it in my head. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anything. I mean, I'm sure there are some that I just can't stand. I can't stand. But
did they ever find out though, Ronald?
I don't think they did.
Okay.
I don't think they did.
Not conclusively.
I feel like I'm an audience for one-hit wonder type songs. Like I feel like I'm an easy mark for those. Honestly,
okay,
a lot of them.
I find myself liking a lot of songs that other people think of as like novelty songs or that kind of thing. In general, I do.
But Who Let the Dogs Out was hard to process. I feel like I was hearing it way too much. I remember that, like watching the morning news, and they were like on Good Morning America, singing it outside, and I was like, man, this song.
Maybe Gangnam Style. That's one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's one. When I hear it, it's like, okay, whatever. I get it. Like it's catchy. People caught on to it, and visually, there's something tied to it.
Yeah.
But like when I hear that song still, I'm like, oh God.
But
I'm still yeah, but still I'm like, okay, I get it, whatever.
Well, I think that it too is like it's like if you were making fun of that song,
yeah,
Psy might show up and make fun of it for you. You know what I mean? Like that's an example of what I'm talking about. It's like true. It is the parody of itself at this point.
Totally true.
And it's a reference that people still might pull out at this late date. Like I saw some of those people that dance. I don't know how I end up following these people on like Instagram or whatever, but some of these people that just fucking dance and they post themselves dancing. It's like,
Yeah,
what a
yeah.
life. Some of them pulled out Gangnam Style recently, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
there's an oldie, but a moldy.
Moldy.
Moldy. And it's like the magic trick of somebody you don't expect to be able to dance to be able to dance. I've always thought that was like, I can't figure out what that is.
Like what it is that makes some people like, oh wow, this person has a little thing going on, and this other thing where you're like, these people are just dancing. What is this?
Yeah.
What they think I care a lot more about them than I do because they can dance.
Yes. And there's a whole subgenre of that white boy can dance that I feel like black people have there's like a couple people. I mean, let's be honest. JT Justin Timberlake. I mean, come on. He's like one of those people like it's like a magic trick. He's like, hey, how's everybody doing? And they just starts dancing like, oh.
But even he has that video from like last year or whenever where he was kind of doing some sort of uncle dancing, and people were saying like he's gone the way of like the sort of
he's given up
the half dancer, yeah. And I felt bad at that point because what he was doing in the clip, I was like, yeah, it is pretty unk looking, but it was still more than I could do, and so I was like, that just made me realize how how my stage presence whenever I used to play with my bands, there was never like, let's watch John Walker move. That was never the point of coming to see the
band. Man, there's this clip. I don't know why this is so funny to me. There's this guy dancing, and he ends it with pulling his collar up, and this is like a Twitch streamer that's watching it. He's like, hey, I like you and everything, but if you do that one more time, I'll beat your ass. I was like, what is that? I was like, dude, he's like fucking up this guy's stream. He's like, stop with this corniness.
Okay, but I'm going to add a couple things. I was thinking about this recently. Dance moves that I'm done with. I've got two. I've got two that I'm just going to say that people either do. I don't know if it's worse. The first one I'm going to say, I don't know if it's worse if you're doing it sincerely or jokingly, but it's bad either way. The disco pointing.
You don't like that?
It's done. It was a corny old thing to do when I was a kid. And so when someone's like, "Spotlight's on me, I'm dancing," and then they pull out the disco point. No, it's over.
What if a little kid does it?
If a little kid does it, then they have corny parents, and they should be taken away from them.
All right.
And the other one, and this one hurts me because this is instinctively very easy for all of us to go to, especially during certain music that has a certain kind of quality that makes you want to do this. But it's over doing the robot. It's over. And unless you've got some really great moves, if you're one of those people that can move their body in a, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the cartoon. I'm making fun of, I can't dance, but I'm doing the robot.
Yeah.
No, it's done. And I would put slightly behind that the sort of any kind of half-assed wave or moonwalking, unless you're doing them so badly to prove that you can't do them right. That's okay. But
I mean, if somebody does a bad enough robot, I'm anti-ice. I call ice on them. I'm like, I call it. Hello.
It's like, no, this guy just went to the robot unnecessarily, and he was terrible at it. And it seems like he's making fun of it while he's doing it, but actually, he's terrible at it.
Look, I'm calling ice on you, brother. Yeah. Sorry, and I don't like ice.
I don't even like them. Hey, I don't even like those guys.
I don't even like those guys.
That's my stance on ice. Well, I love how, because we know we are light on material this week, we just went ahead with an opening tangent fest. So I hope people that like banter realize that this was like a banter special.
Yeah.
And we actually did talk about how much we like water. Is that proof that we've run out of topics?
That's where we're at, guys.
Yeah. We actually have some significant news. Disney had a presentation at CinemaCon. For those who don't know what CinemaCon is, it's a convention for all the theaters to get them pumped up about movies. The studios come, and they're like, hey guys, new movies are coming. Here's our slate. You might see a clip. You might sometimes get in a whole film. and Disney has a large chunk, one of the largest chunks that they've had in the history of CinemaCon. And they're allowing people to bring cameras in, which is really crazy. But one of the bigger announcements that they made is that they have their own large format, their own large premium large format for theaters called Infinity Vision. So it's a laser projection, premium audio formats, which is so randomly vague, and large screens for maximum scale. So whatever that means, they're trying to do it, and it sounds like they're just trying to get into the theater game. They're trying to present a format that's, you know, easy to say, that your kids will want to see, and will be presented with. Avengers seems like the first movie that they're going to be using it with.
Mm.
So I'm curious about how this is going to be. Oh, no! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Avengers Endgame is the first one that they're going to use beforehand, so people
Mm.
can see it, and then Doomsday is going to be the first new movie that they're going to use for the format.
Got it.
So we'll have some time to look at something in this format before we pass any judgment on it for Doomsday. So, What do you guys think about when you hear this? Um,
I mean, when you mentioned it before we started recording, the first thing that came into my mind was that this is what you do when you can't get IMAX. You know,
yeah,
what is it? Dune 3 has IMAX, right? Those are the two
Yeah.
going against each other. Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
Doomsday is losing the IMAX PLF, and so it's like this is another certification, another format, another reason to charge more. Which I mean, if the presentation, I'm sure will be superior, but I mean, you're getting into a point now where it's like when these filmmakers show how to experience their movies when they come out, like Ryan Coogler did and Lord and Miller did, and it's kind of a cool thing to do now. It's like, oh, just add another to the infographic, the Infinity Vision or whatever it's called.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, again, it's like they're trying to get people to go to movie theaters. They're trying to, you know, increase profit margins, and the business side of things is really relevant to try to like, and also I guess to like stay not that IMAX or Dolby or anything else is not like current because they are the it things in the modern experiences, but maybe there's new ways to experience something. Maybe there will be a marked
Yeah,
difference, or they can like leverage it, or they can
right.
show it effectively. And I'm sure they'll have the Russo brothers do a little promo video, or Downey Jr. doing a promo video showing why you need to see it in VistaVision, and it'll be isolating why it's as good as or better than whatever exists now.
This means two things for me in my brain.
Okay.
How you guys getting
Disney
along
Pl-
these days?
Disney Plus, and the standardization of what it means to have like a premium presentation of something at home. So I think what they'll
Mm.
probably do is, like they did their format. What is it? They have one right now where you have to have a certain TV. Um, what's that format we were talking about?
Mm.
I don't remember.
Um, sorry.
Is it super duper format?
Uh,
Oh, fancy format.
yeah.
Somebody should release something just called fancy format.
Oh, enhanced. IMAX enhanced.
Oh, okay.
So IMAX enhanced is
That's not that much difference from fancy.
it requires a certain TV, but then it requires a certain output of
Mm.
audio, and that's the only way that you can get the combination of
Oh,
both
wow.
the visual part and the audio part of IMAX. And IMAX enhanced is actually DTS for the audio, DTSX, but it has to be a certain output. It's weird, man. Like if
Hmm.
you look up the specs for it, I can't just get it on mine. Like and I have like a
Right.
pretty good
Right.
setup. And you need a certain TV You need a certain output, and that's how they're going to do it. Which means to me that this is another step in the marketing of
Yep.
how to watch it the ideal way. You want to watch it the best way. You want to watch it the Infinity Vision way, and then they show it like, well, here's another thing. The fuck is Ryan Coogler gonna do when he has to do Black Panther? Is he gonna do it in Infinity, or is he gonna do it in IMAX?
Yeah.
Because the next Black Panther is, he's gonna be, all right, here's a new format.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And hopefully he's presenting something that's like, I would rather IMAX, to be honest.
So I have a new thing
to...
I could listen to all night, and that's you doing Ryan Coogler.
Thank you. I just thought my 10-second Ryan Coogler impression. When we were trying to get chat on the project, we had met at a coffee shop. He had just gotten off Jackie Robinson. So he was all in character.
Character.
His shoulders.
It's great. It's great.
Good impressions. You really could just tuck yourself into bed and listen to them all night, and you would wake up and you'd like when someone nails one, like it really, it's one of the greatest pleasures.
I could have him read me a book and I would for sure fall asleep. Like, he has such a soothing, and he has a great sense of humor, man. It's wild how, like, especially during the Sinners run, watching him and Zinzi talk, he's funny, man. Like, yeah.
Well, we were talking about this before. He just seems very himself, and I think that it's like it's just cool when somebody's like, doesn't seem like they're putting anything on, and they have that much interesting stuff to say, but also there's a certain level where the work speaks for itself to such an extent that he really can be that kind of natural and real and seem very like he's a name brand director. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're out of the era where people really notice the names of directors, but I think he's surprisingly known by name.
Handful, yeah. There's a handful of them that I think are still really relevant.
Well, my whole thing with this thing, like I just this showdown for the dates that meant that Dune had the IMAX locked down, and that Adventures Doomsday is not going to have any IMAX.
Right.
That always seemed to me like such a fucking slip up on Disney's part, but it always made me think, well, maybe they have some plan, or maybe there's some reason why they're not sweating it. And I don't know what the reason would be, but is this why? I mean, is it possible that they knew they had this in their I mean, I know what you're saying. This could be a reaction to not having the screens, but it's not like they didn't know that it was important to have the screens. I mean, could they have been unaware and not realized how bad it was going to look for them to have no IMAX? Or is it really impossible to think that a company like that would be kind of caught
No question.
Not paying attention to what seemed obvious to everybody else? I didn't know if you guys had a feeling on that. Do you think maybe they were all along thinking, don't worry, we've got Infinity Vision coming, and that will be that'll be our IMAX replacement that we don't have to worry about? I mean, it still seems like kind of a weird, like, I don't like anybody kind of siloing in that way, but I'm up to try a new format. And I guess I missed, is this going to be new screening rooms, or is this going to be just like in a regular theater where some screening rooms are going to be retrofitted to be Infinity Vision, or is this going to be like new facilities?
I'm not sure. Ronald, do you know?
No, that I'm not sure of. But I mean, it's so clear to me now that we're talking about it, that they really want to make this like a home, like a theater to home thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they may have to, right? Like, I think they may have to have like a special theater for, but what is that going to mean for like cost and
right? Aren't studios not supposed to run theaters, or is that not a thing anymore? I always thought that was one of those one of those legal issues that studios couldn't be the ones who run the theater chains. Am I right about that? Isn't that like a thing?
Yeah,
it sounds right.
But every now and then a studio talks about opening theater. I know Netflix had done it. I mean, every now and then you hear about somebody opening up a screening room, but for some reason, I thought there was some.
The only thing I can think of is maybe it's laser. Maybe they'll do it in laser projector theaters, and then maybe it's a specific speaker configuration. Maybe that'll
Right.
maybe that'll kind of make it so that you can put it in anything.
Okay, it was illegal for 70 years, and just in 2020 it changed.
Oh wow.
It's crazy.
This is really crazy, man. Like they just outright said fuck IMAX. I mean, like it's a weird thing to do in 2026 but it also means so
So is it? But that's what I'm asking. Do you think they said fuck IMAX, or do you think they said, "Oops, we forgot about IMAX"?
no, I think they said so. Think about this. They just fired all of their home theater people, right?
They fired 1,000 people.
That's physical.
People. Yeah.
That's physical media, though, right? And then within a week, they're like, "Hey, here's a new format," and that's gonna be their focus for Disney Plus, man. That is gonna be it. It's gonna be like
Sure.
that transition from why are you buying this when you can watch it in the best format and the best visuals, the best audio. Infinity Vision is going to be what it is. And the fact that they're isolating it to, maybe they'll isolate it to just the service, which would be even weirder. So you couldn't get a physical copy with Infinity Vision on it. This sounds like a move, man. It feels like a power move because they want to dominate, again, from the theater to your home.
It feels like a power move, I guess, but it also, I mean, you're right. They're acknowledging some new part of the market or some new market-driven pressure to kind of figure something out.
Yes.
Movies are not what they used to be, so this is a figure something out kind of thing. And if they can have it more under their hood, then they can. I mean, I guess they've got Disney Plus as a thing to look at and say,
yes.
"Oh, here's how we did this. Let's go more direct with this." Yeah, I mean, I can see it. It's just seems so. It seems to me like a weird move on top. Like I can see the sort of pretend wisdom behind it, but it seems like a really weird move. And it always seemed like a weird move that those two movies were squatting on the same dates. But it does not surprise me at all, though, that Disney is like, no, we want this movie out this year. They're trying to get the brand, not just Disney, the brand, but the MCU brand. They're trying to get it like back on people's minds, or at least kind of. And I'm sure shareholders have something to do with the calendar placement of a movie like this too. But I think just in terms of like not wanting to wait around, they don't want to keep having these plans that everybody knows about, but no movies to show for it. So it makes sense that they would say it's got to be out this year. But it always seems so strange that they were fighting over a date. And then when I heard the IMAX thing, I was like,
"Yeah, it's crazy.
This feels like sloppy." But yeah, maybe this is driven by this. And then the 1,000 people that they who got laid off or let go were across different departments and different things. I mean, this is not as bad as the layoffs they had a few years ago under Iger. I think he let a lot of people go in 2023, but so it's not as many people, but it's still crazy. And like, if it's some of it's not good. Like I think, didn't Marvel let a lot of visual effects people go?
Yes.
The people that they kept on hand,
project basis,
right? They're going to hire project to project basis, which means obviously they're cutting back on salaries and they're cutting back on the kind of overhead of keeping these departments running. But one of the things they've had all along are these people that they can be like, oh, we're thinking of doing something with Doctor Doom, and then these people can whip up a different Doctor Doom designs and reference art and show all this. Like they've had a department who was right there, who was working around the clock to develop these things. Now, whether we're going to see like cool new ideas come in because now they're hiring on the project, or if it's just a way to, as they often do on the corporate level, go, oh, we're going to maybe have a lot of the same people doing the same job, but just not paid as well. And not paid for as long. But it seems like a bad thing. And it seems like a step towards some of these other technologies that people like myself are not that excited about movies of that scale using, like such as, using AI more for some of that stuff. But we'll just have to see if they end up hiring humans back to do all this stuff again, or if they're looking to cut corners even more. So it's a crazy time, I think, to make movies, even if you're fucking Disney.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows what works right now.
No, they don't. I mean, and I think that quietly behind the scenes, people have been trying to get rid of the whole Dolby thing. And I think that there's a couple companies, like I think Google is trying to make a spatial audio thing that's open source, so you don't have to pay Dolby for it every time you use it. There are people that are trying to make it. Now, what would be really cool is if Disney's like, we're going to use this open source spatial audio thing, but they're not. Disney's not going to fucking do that.
Sure.
They want a proprietary thing.
No, they want to lock it down.
But if they do it, it'd be a cool move, because free is better. And if everything else costs, then that would make sense. But the formatting and all that stuff makes a difference. So I don't know, man. They just made a move. This could be the beta, though. What if this fails? What if people are like, I don't care about this format. I want IMAX.
Right. That if it sounds like Temu IMAX, then that's not good. Yeah.
If people watch this, and this is like, we're used to are you guys going to the Michael screening?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I'm going to the Michael screen. I mean, like, it's gonna be an IMAX. There's a quality you expect when you go to those movies. Like, if it's like Temu, like IMAX, like you said, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
What the hell is this?
Oh, would that be T-Mux? So should we talk about a movie?
Yeah, let's do it. Maybe a required one that we should have
viewing.
watched.
Yes. Ronald, you demanded it.
So, yes, I demanded it. So I commanded it. Well, we got Netflix's 2026 movie Thrash, which is a movie about a natural disaster which leads to sharks kind of taking over this town.
Not wasting time either. These sharks.
Not
move
wasting
in.
time. I mean, like, as
quick.
soon as the town flooded, it was like,
They had an idea. They had a plan ready.
yeah. I
Let's
didn't know
go.
sharks attack like that. They're just like,
I don't know if this movie was 100% realistic.
We have to assume it was, though, right? We have to assume. It's only fair.
So yeah, I mean, what made this one pop up on your radar? Was it just like, oh, this it looks like a fun one? I mean, we're talking about like, what was it, 86 minutes?
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very low barrier to entry in that sense. It doesn't ask a lot of you to sit down and start watching this movie.
I'm always impressed when something looks theatrical that goes on Netflix. Like, this doesn't look like a good movie per se, but it visually looks like something that could have come out in the theater. And I didn't even know the story about Sony and all that stuff. But it makes perfect sense. It looks, there's a quality to it.
Right.
For sure. Visually, let's say, but visually there's a quality to it. Story-wise, I can see why they sold it to Netflix.
Well, you know what? Story-wise, I mean, there was a moment where I realized the best way to describe this movie was, what did I have in here? Oh, elevated Sharknado.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. It kind of sits between that.
It's like better made
better.
and better acted and better shot than that, but it doesn't have ambitions that are really any better than that. And at its most schlocky, it really barely holds on to. I mean, I was in a bar recently where they were playing a Sharknado movie on the screen behind my friend. Ever have that where just the angle of the television in the bar, it's like, well, shit,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the screen because I grew up looking at televisions. But it was Sharknado. It was one of the Sharknados, and of course it looked crappy and horrible, but it held my interest like way more than if it had been sports or something like that. So it was just kind of interesting that I was like talking to my friends. It was a really deep, intimate conversation, and I kept thinking like, oh, look at Ian Ziering up there, fighting those bad sharks. This had better effects than that. Like, so I found myself thinking like but it's still a storm. I mean, it really is like a storm comes in, the sharks come in with the storm. But there is something about this. I would say this. Some of the shots of just the storm damage were legitimately scary. Like at the beginning when the roof gets ripped off and then the water's rolling in. Some of that stuff was well done. And I feel like the first third of the movie, I was looking at my notes. The first third of my notes, I'm being kind of like, oh, that was pretty cool. Oh, this is not bad. And I was kind of gearing up for something a little bit more cohesive that would go a little bit more as it goes along. Once the sharks come in, I have things like, are these CGI or made of rubber? Because there's some scenes where they actually look like rubber sharks flopping around on somebody, but I realized that could also be mid CGI that just looks kind of rubbery.
Sure.
But like it was like once it went from a flood drama to a shark drama, it's like you can feel the change in tone, and you can feel the sort of, it gets sillier and more like, oh, just throwing everything at the wall. Before that, I was like going, oh, what's this little? It felt like setting up like the way a disaster movie sets up like a little tapestry of people that are going to be dealing with the problem. And then once the sharks show up, not only is it like it. Yeah, they don't look bad. There's one shot that's incredibly scary with one of the sharks. Where the guy's in the basement and the shark comes down the stairs.
Yes.
And it's like silhouetted and it's murky water.
That was cool.
That was good because that was like slasher movie logic of we see the shark before the hero of the scene does. Yes. And so we realize he's going to have to contend with it. But a lot of times the sharks looked a little goofy or just not quite as scary as I was getting when I was like, oh shit, man, this drama about a flood was. And again, I'm not saying I didn't want sharks to show up. I'm just saying I felt a little bit of the sort of quality control of the story and the tone and the characters go out the window a little bit when it became a shark thing, because then it became more about like, the asshole guy, Mr. Olson, like have a character be the biggest asshole that he can be and then have sharks tear him apart. It's that kind of tone.
Yeah.
But I was, I legitimately got a little freaked out thinking about storms during that opening part, thinking about how many times have I been? I love those little coastal towns too, and I always think about how precarious it can be, like the Outer Banks or something like that, where you're just like, a few years ago they got squashed by some storms, but it's a place everybody loves to go because of exactly the reasons that it's vulnerable to storms. So I don't know. There's just such a.
But you guys would heed the warning a little better than some of those people. They're like, no, I'm just going to hang out.
I'm just going to sit in my house, and watch television. Yeah, I did think that like we were watching a unique situation where maybe these people didn't have enough warning or something, because it didn't seem like there was like a push to evacuate the town the way that that you might have expected. But they did talk about like, oh, those of you who've decided to stay, you heard the news talk about that a little bit. But I think they're both B movies, but the flood disaster movie was like a B movie, whereas the shark movie, when it comes in, is like a B- movie.
Which one would you have rather watch?
I was ready for the shark shit, so I watched the movie that I came to watch. This movie was called Thrash. The bigger issue for me would be just like it really is crazy how much it reminded me of Crawl. I mean, it's like down to certain like rhythms of the story. It really is hitting the same beats as Crawl. I mean, maybe this is not the only movies to do it, but the idea that you're flooding and the animals are coming in and people are like sneaking around their houses that are now hazardous because of this. It's like it is different when you have a ton of sharks versus one alligator, or I don't know. Was it just one big alligator in Crawl, or were there multiple?
I don't remember. It might have been more than one.
But anyway, it felt very similar in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I it was definitely watchable. But there was a moment where I found myself going, "Oh, okay." I'm not thinking this is as good as I was potentially a minute ago, but at no point did I question, why am I watching this, or why did Ronald suggest this? This is still sharks. It's still called Thrash. It's still, like I said, you still get to see annoying assholes get ripped up by sharks. Some of the most blatant baby in peril stuff. If you don't like infant peril in a horror film, or you think that's exploitative or too easy, there's one scene in this that is insane depths of baby in peril. But I do think we saw an example of mom strength. You know how moms supposedly have 10 times the strength of a normal person when it comes to protecting their child. Not when you're pregnant. When you're pregnant, you can't break a branch that's trapping you in your car. But when you are when you've had the baby, you can like punch a shark and
yes,
all that power is released.
All that power, right? Mom power. Because I had written in my notes so much for that mom strength when she like is sitting there in the car screaming for like a half hour, and I was like, they didn't make that branch look unbreakable enough that you couldn't muscle it out if you were really trying to save your life.
Yeah.
But then later, she was in a much more perilous situation, and she came out of it okay. Spoiler: the mom and the infant don't get eaten by the shark. But there's a version of this movie that they would have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe I thought I was watching that movie at a certain point, and I maybe wanted it to be. I either wanted it to be a little bit more well written, or I wanted it to be more like crazy. I think that's it. And then I was kind of surprised that was it. Like when it got to the end, the big moment
it does end pretty quickly.
Did not feel like an ending.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it to you guys after this, but I'll just say that I started off thinking that Jaimon Hunsu, is that how you say his name? Is it Hunsu? Is a like a warm and likable screen presence. And then like later when he kept popping up, I found some of his scenes to be like the most, like that scene where he's got like a monologue about the hippos, and
oh yeah.
it just felt like they were trying to go for like a Quint in Jaws kind of moment of like, here's like the story, but it just was so bizarre. That little boat full of guys seemed so superfluous to anything, but when they show up at the end, you're like, oh yeah, I guess now they can show up.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah. Ronald, that was a dramatic zoom in on you scratching your ear.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Man, hopefully, okay, there we go. Yes. You gotta just ignore it at this point. I have no control over this shit. I mean, I guess I can turn it off, but I like the fact that it moves with my head.
I like it too.
No, I like it, and I think it's cool that we have, it's one more thing to talk about on the show. So.
Yeah. But he did deliver the lines kind of strangely.
He sounded a little different, and like, or it's just that the material wasn't good, and it's like I was like, oh, he's actually a good actor. And I was like, oh wait, is he a good actor?
So you went on the same arc that I did, where I was like, oh, cool. It's cool to see him play the kind of warm father figure character in this.
Yeah.
And then the next scene he was in, I was like, is he good?
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. It sucks because I just saw I don't know if you saw, he went viral pretty recently because he's like, there's no work for older actors, essentially is what he was saying. And I was like, is that the case?
I've heard him complain about that, and I kind of believe it to some extent, because it's like, for him, he's just a guy that you would have thought would have had more roles, a little bit more heat over the years. He's like I said, he's a likable on-screen presence. He does have maybe an issue of like kind of an Arnold thing of like, because he has a very strong accent, you need the right character for him to play. But if Arnold can play like a cop that nobody comments on being Austrian, I don't know why Jaimon Hunsu couldn't be in more. I mean, of course, we love him as Korvath in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's fun to see him show up in that kind of role, but that's not like, that's him throwing himself into a very small part, And this is like, I was really excited to see, it'll be cool to see, because this is kind of a B movie, it's cool to see one of those actors who doesn't get the A movie roles. Maybe he'll have some stuff to do, but literally like there wasn't much like heroics or anything, or there wasn't much you could have called heroic in terms of that when that team shows up. That's more like, they have a boat, you can hop on their boat. But it was less like, well, now we have a team of people that are gonna continue to get whittled down as they save the shark. But I guess the stakes were really low in one sense. It really was just get away from these sharks. It wasn't and dam up the levee so that the town stops flooding, or and out the corrupt mayor who's responsible for this. Like, there wasn't anything beyond just like, we've got to, if we want to live, we have to get away from this giant shark. And there was an even bigger shark. The end.
The great white.
Yeah, it's like, holy fucking shit. Then it was like, oh, okay, so what about that one?
Right. We're not worried about that one.
That huge one that's triple the size of those? Oh, okay.
The reason that works in Jurassic Park, when you show, there's actually a bigger one, is because the people are trying to get away from Jurassic Park.
Right.
I guess when the floods go down, people won't have to worry about a giant shark like in their driveway. So I guess there is an end in sight for the people of this town. They just have to wait for the floodwaters to recede. But you'd be looking out there and seeing that shark swimming around in the bay, going like, we know he's out there. He's like, I'm coming back. Just wait till the next storm. And the end does end with a here we go again, right? It ends with the guy looking at the radar screen.
Yep.
Is that a threat or a promise that there'll be a Thrash too?
Big enough. On the flicks of neck. I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it's like a fun, it is exactly what John said earlier. I think, like, where it's in between, like, the Sharknado and the whatever the step above this movie might be. Like, honestly, it's something like Crawl, or like, I think Crawl was a bit better than this one, but or just really any other kind of shark movie. I mentioned, like, it's not really a shark movie as much as it is like a serial killer movie, but that Dangerous Animals movie I mentioned last year, like, that's more.
I want to see that
quality. Yeah, I think you'd really dig it. It's really good.
So it's like a serial killer that uses the sharks as
he basically it's what was it, Jai Courtney? He like basically is like a boat. He like, what do you call it? A charter boat. Like, he people, and he grabs men, women, whatever, like young people that like just trust him and hire him, and he's a serial killer basically, and he gets out on the open ocean and does weird shit and feeds them to the sharks. But I'm saying that, like, there's a hierarchy of the kinds of shark movies and even the quality of them. But I mean, this kind of sits just above like a Sharknado, where it's not like it's not super silly, like laughable kind of thing like that. But there definitely are moments in the movie that are just like, this is dialed up to 11, like intentionally to be like, to get the reaction from the audience that I'm sure it actually does. And actually, I've heard a bunch of people watching this movie in my circle of friends and family, and I think everybody's just having that exact level of fun with it. It's just like, it's fun. It looks pretty good in most cases. And I think the storm element of it, like the sense of urgency, and one of the woman being pregnant and a girl who lost her mother. There's so much. There's so
also,
much.
Don't bring up my dead mom in a fucking
empathy. Yeah,
storm.
Sure.
I haven't seen you since your mother died. What? I haven't seen since your mother died. And then she's like,
that's exactly. Your impressions are spot on tonight. Impersonation, like
that wasn't Ronald.
First Coogler, then her.
That was all this time I should have been. There we go.
Just spot on.
I should have had my.
Oh damn.
So let me get to the side here.
Yeah, what's the line? She's like, "Mommy's got to go kill some fucking sharks," or whatever he says. Mama's got to go kill some sharks. I was like, that's a good one. That's fun.
Another little moment that kind of made me chuckle was I hate this sweater because they got caught up.
Yes.
Because it was right at the moment where you're going, this is fucking silly that the sweater has now for the second time snagged this guy up. No, I think there is something like I know I already just kind of mentioned how watchable it is. So yeah, it is an easy watch in that sense. I do think that when you talk about Crawl being slightly better, I think Crawl created a little bit more of a sense of whatever the arc of the story was, the getting out, the timing of all that. It felt like there was a little bit more of a thrust to that, whereas this Ronald, the word thrust caused a dramatic zoom in.
Yeah, for some reason, like super.
It just didn't have that. It just didn't have that story piece on its mind that would have given that last act a shape that
Right.
would have felt a little bit more like something. And like I said, when you have a boat of characters come in that don't really have anything to do, like, man, the movie in my head, that like rookie reporter guy, he was shark fodder. He wasn't supposed to be hanging around at the end. So it's like, it feels like half the people on that boat should have been picked off by the sharks, by the just by the rules of what kind of movie we were watching. So, but yeah, there's nothing wrong. I mean, this movie's not trying. I don't think there's a pretentious bone in this movie's body. I don't think it thinks it's doing more than it's doing. I just think that, that the story wise, it needed a little bit more of a destination, which is funny to say because I was thinking about Final Destination a little bit, like when when her car crashed onto the like, her car's like floating through the flood, and then she crashes onto the tree branch, but the tree branch is what traps her, and then like the car starts flooding, and then we see so that was a perfect like combination of elements.
Totally.
And it made me think like, oh, is this just a disaster movie thing, or do movies now have a little bit more of a Final Destination like mechanic as far as like the visuals of how a scene goes bad? Now, whenever I see like a succession of shots like that show how a situation just got worse, it's like, oh, I feel like that's a Final Destination rhythm.
Oh, totally. That whole setup was like, from the moment you see her at the meat packing plant, and he's loading the tanker up, and you see blood just trickling down. Like, that's how they drive away, right? They just drive away with like blood trickling down the top of the tanker.
Always.
And then, of course, she runs into him, and like I look over at Aaron, I'm like, okay, so that tanker's exploding or something, and that's how the sharks are coming to town.
Yes.
And then 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, because it's that sequence, like John's saying, like they're stringing it along, like, but whatever, it's fun.
That part is very fun.
It's a fun movie.
Like, it made me think the same thing. I think the last Jurassic Park movie or Jurassic World movie, which we three are the only three people who really liked it, apparently.
Yeah,
I think.
or at least we had fun with it, and we didn't expect more than it did. I think even we agreed like some of the acting was sort of stiff. Like ScarJo's pretty stiff in that. But I remember that had a sequence, the kind of like a sequence with the scientists at the beginning that had a real Final Destination vibe to it, because it was like you saw a series of things that caused the dinosaur to be able to get out of containment. Right. And it made me think, oh, you could cross Final Destination over with almost any kind of suspenseful movie just by saying like, okay, when that's happening, you know who's behind that? Tony Todd's behind that.
Right.
There's the part where the guy comes over to help, just feels way too casual. He's like, hold on, you stuck?
You're talking about the hillbilly with the beard?
Yes.
No, I'm actually, this is the journey of that was I wrote down, I like the reflexive heroism of the long-bearded hillbilly in the rowboat. And then like within 2 minutes he was dead. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this isn't that kind of movie. But I thought he was a new character. I was going to be like, oh, now he's thrown in the mix. This guy who looks like he would be, kind of a whatever. I mean, you might not look at him and think he's going to be heroic. And
because they throw you off. You're like, all right, hey, you go get the thing. You think, okay, that guy's obviously going to die, and this guy's going to be okay. And then he dies so close to her.
Yeah,
he's like, whoa. He's like hugging the car. That's so weird, man. I'm like, this feels like a ride. I'm like, yes, I'm in for this.
That's funny. It feels like a ride because she is sitting there like it's like her car should have been moved to the next stunt.
And you kind of see the guy break character like, hey, all right, see you at the next stop where I will put on a wig and be a woman.
When those guys were dead within a minute, it is honestly when the movie turned. Like that's honestly the moment where I was like, oh, okay, this movie is a little bit sillier than I thought it was trying to be.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, I guess that dying, I thought his death was at least memorable because it had that thing of like she's trapped and he's dying right in front of her, and there's no reason there's no reason for her to think that like now it's coming, like, well, it's going to come back for me. So she's got no reason to think she can get away from this shark at this point. But yeah, the sharks weren't messing around. The sharks got right to it.
Yeah, heartless. The sharks. They were going to eat that baby.
They wanted to eat the baby, Ronald.
Fuckers.
you kind of knew they weren't going to eat the baby, but there was a tiny part of me that thought, "Oh my god, how dark is this movie?"
You're gonna eat the baby.
Oh my goodness!
Man, she was resourceful too, like chopping the umbilical cord in the water.
Yeah,
and it went from me thinking like this like her being pregnant was like a blatant kind of classic ratcheting up technique. That's like, okay, she's going to have this baby during this storm, and the sharks are going to be there. But the way they used it, like the blood and everything, I thought that part had me. I kind of knew they were okay, but I did not know how bad it was going to get. And I did briefly think the baby's going to live and the mama's going to die. I did think that was going to happen for a second, but then I realized, oh yeah, this movie's not. Once again, it's not as mean as that. It's got a mean streak, but it's not that mean.
Because she FaceTimed their mom, I knew she was going to live. She's like, "What's going on over there, baby?" It's like people are dying. Yeah, so I knew it was going to resolve itself.
I guess that's a good point. The movie had sort of announced that it wasn't that kind of movie up already. Just like you knew none of those kids were going to die on the other storyline.
I like
those foster kids.
Yeah. That guy hated them, man. That was rough.
Man, not just like not passing along the money, but like literally going down to the basement and having a fridge full of steaks.
Get out of the basement. Have some Wonder Bread.
Oh man, that was. I mean, again, like it shows some attempt to set up these character dynamics, but it's so cartoonishly evil. Like that guy was so detestable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, when they were accusing him, and he was like, "No, you don't understand. Y'all need to shut the fuck up." It's like he was just like he wasn't. There wasn't anything likable about him.
You need to hear my side. Shut the fuck up, kids. Oh god.
Yeah, you wonder if the character description that actor was given was just like Billy Olsen, a total fucking asshole.
He's like, "Yes, I got this." He was great, man. He cursed so much, and then when he like reappeared, oh god! And it kicked him in the face. Yeah, this is a good movie, man. I liked it. I kind of like this movie, man.
I mean, it is. It's just a fun movie. That's it. That's all there is to it. Like, well, I mean, it's fun,
right? When a movie doesn't, I don't know, like if it doesn't aim for that much, and then it doesn't miss that much, you're like, well, what
Right, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, like, why am I going to complain? Am I just going to complain that that B movies exist? Well, that's my problem, because you can't really get mad at a B movie for being a B movie.
Right.
I mean, or you can. You just sound awful silly. Like if you say like, oh, I would prefer something with, a little bit more social relevance, or I don't know, whatever you might wish this movie had that it doesn't have. It's like, yeah, obviously that was not what they were trying to do.
Yeah. True indeed.
Oh, one other thing I want to say. I thought the cloth or the curtain letters on the roof, that shit would have blown away in like 5 seconds.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That was one of the weirdest things. Like I think they thought about the visual, but not about like the actual functionality of that. Because it was like, well, that of all the things you could have used, this is like one of the worst things to spell out help with. Is
not nailed down or anything.
It's just like diaphanous cloth, just laying it on the roof.
Yeah. It's funny. The father was like, "Gee," well, the uncle.
Yeah.
It's like the house could collapse at any time. And it's like, oh, all right. I feel like he's telling you something. Then
this house is going to collapse.
He kind of called the whole situation from.
Yep.
Believe scientists. That's what it should be called. Believe scientists.
But yeah, a fun one.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm trying to think what I'm going to pick here. I don't know if John, if you saw this movie, but I've been wanting to see it, and it just came out digitally this week. But I think I'm going to choose Undertone.
Oh,
did you
I've not seen it?
No. Not only did I just watch it, Steve, I think you just saved me from having to do a one-man feature on Undertone.
This is great. I love it. This is plans coming together here. Yeah, yeah. Again, I'd heard great things about this. It just came out on digital this week. I tried to check it out. I saw it was playing the Charles when I was downtown one day, and it just couldn't make it work. But
Same. I
I'm
watched
just
it
kind of curious. It's
at
like,
home.
you hear the scariest movie you'll ever hear, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just at least listen to the movie, but I'll
Okay.
probably watch it too.
Yeah.
Um, but Yeah, the host of a popular paranormal podcast becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. Uh, Again, digitally available right now. It came out this week. We'll talk about it next week as my required viewing pick.
Awesome. What I like about that is I do think this is one that would be more fun to talk to you guys about than it would be just to give a little
Perfect.
5 minute spiel on. But
Sorry to take away the one other movie you watched.
Oh no!
Sean.
Honestly, though, you just made this the most concise show we've ever done because we fulfilled our obligations to the Water Council. Cool, refreshing water. Nothing better. But we then we talked about our Disney Infinity Vision news, and then we talked about required viewing, and that feels like such a show.
It's good. It's fine.
We don't need to do the "what else did you watch" thing if I'm the only one that watched something, and we're going to talk about it next week. So I'll just hold it. But I will say this: if you do watch this at home, which I think both of you would be doing, I listened to it on headphones, which really helped the sort of immersion aspect because there's actually parts of the movie where the character's wearing noise canceling headphones and the sound is made to sound like that, like with the air kind of sucked out of it, you know?
I dig it.
So that conceit, I really was like, some of the effectiveness of that was really, some of the most effective aspects of the movie definitely came from the sort of like, oh my God, I feel this, not only do I feel immersed in this, but like this is a very familiar sense. Like anybody probably watching this movie in 2026 has had the experience of the way things in the room sound when you're wearing noise canceling headphones and you have that kind of weird, like, you know, if you ever have that, if you're wearing that and someone comes in and talks to you and you hear your significant other going like, and it's like they're right in front of you and you're like, shit, I didn't realize how closed off I was from the world. And then you turn off noise canceling and suddenly you hear like the noise of the fridge and the birds outside and you realize, holy shit, I was in a cocoon of sound and I didn't realize it.
Totally.
So the movie gives you that feeling. So
cool.
Yeah.
Movieshmovie.com is the website. You can go there to subscribe to the podcast, listen to every episode we've ever put out in at least audio form. Or you can go to youtube.com/movieshmoviepodcast. You can also listen to it there, watch it there, full episodes, shorter episodes, or rather shorts from the episode. And there's also the home cut series that Ronald does for Kaleidoscape. That's only on the YouTube channel. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Again, the required viewing pick is Undertone, which just came out on PVOD, Premium Video on Demand this week. So it's $15 to $20, I think, depending where you go, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. You could probably rent it too. But we'll talk about that next week. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, you've made our day. Thanks.
Bye.